The history of feminism does not begin in the 19th century. Its roots reach back to the European Enlightenment. At a time when freedom, equality, and human rights were proclaimed, women were excluded from many of these rights. An early and courageous voice was Olympe de Gouges, who in 1791 published the Declaration of the Rights of Woman and of the Female Citizen, demanding political equality for women. Her demands made clear that the ideals of the revolution did not automatically apply to everyone. These early impulses laid the foundation for what later became known as the first wave of feminism in the 19th and early 20th centuries. During this phase, the focus was primarily on legal issues: women's suffrage, access to education, property rights, and the legal independence of married women. In Great Britain, the movement was shaped in part by Emmeline Pankhurst, who led the suffragettes in their fight for the right to vote. In many countries in Europe and North America, women finally gained the right to vote in the early 20th century. The second wave of feminism emerged in the 1960s and 1970s in the context of social upheavals, civil rights movements, and cultural liberalization. The focus shifted from formal equality before the law to deeply embedded social structures. A central theoretical foundation was provided by Simone de Beauvoir in her work, The Second Sex. Her famous statement that one is not born, but rather becomes, a woman expressed the idea that gender roles are socially constructed. Feminists of this period criticized traditional divisions of labor within family and professional life, addressed issues of sexual self-determination, and emphasized that personal experiences of discrimination have political dimensions. The phrase, "the personal is political," became a guiding principle of this era. In the 1990s, the so-called third wave of feminism developed. It responded to criticism that earlier feminist movements often reflected primarily the perspectives of white, Western, middle-class women. Thinkers such as Judith Butler, particularly through her work Gender Trouble, fundamentally questioned the stability of gender identities. Gender increasingly came to be understood as a cultural and linguistic construction. At the same time, the concept of intersectionality gained importance, describing how different forms of discrimination, such as those based on gender, race, or social class, intersect and overlap. Since around 2010, scholars and activists have spoken of a fourth wave of feminism, strongly shaped by digital media. Social networks have enabled new forms of mobilization and international connection. A prominent example is the Me Too movement, which sparked global debates about sexual violence, power structures, and systemic abuse. In this phase, issues of visibility, representation, body politics, and global solidarity are central. Overall, the history of feminism can be understood as an ongoing process in which goals, strategies, and theoretical foundations have continually evolved and expanded. While the first wave primarily demanded legal equality, later phases shifted the focus towards social, cultural, and structural power relations. Feminism is therefore not a single, unified ideology, but a dynamic field of movements and theories that responds to changing historical conditions and continues to develop over time.